Hey everybody, welcome to We've Got the Pet Beat. Fuck!
We got the pet.
We're
doing dog movies today, guys.
Damn it. I was so on. Oh, I had 3 in a row. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to We've Got the Beat, the podcast devoted to teen entertainment from the 80s and beyond. I'm your host, Michael, and Mindy's on the other side.
Teen entertainment geared towards pets.
So we're watching the Shaggy DA. Tommy Kirk, he's a teenager. So this episode we're discussing the 20th anniversary of Orange County and another trying to get into college despite incredible odds movie called How I Got Into College. Obvious on the nose there.
Superly creative title.
Well, at least it explains. So which one would you like to start with?
Well, let's just go chronologically.
Okay, well, How I Got Into College is the third film from Savage Steve Holland. Sadly, didn't get as well of a release. Really hasn't found an audience, and sadly, it's one of those movies that was always kind of hard to find anyway. Is it as good as his previous 2 films? No. But it still has a universal theme, and it's better than a lot of teen movies from this period.
You can still feel some of his vibe, though. Like, that it has some similarities to his other films. But I think partially, he was brought in to direct this movie, like, literally at the last minute. It wasn't like in a movie he was, planning to direct. And I think that's partially why it doesn't feel quite as similar.
Yeah, he probably did some quick rewrites on it to give it more of his tone, but so a lot of people don't know what happened to him after One Crazy Summer, and he went off to create one of the very first Fox TV shows, The Adventures of Beans Baxter.
Beans Baxter, yeah.
Got renewed as The New Adventures of Bean Baxter, but only lasted like another season, and then the minute he was done with that, he got hired for this. I didn't know that he was hired at the last minute. I'm guessing you found that on IMDb.
Yeah, I forget the name of the person who was supposed to direct it, but at the last second they got fired or quit. I can't remember which. He got brought in. So you can see that he clearly did have some creative license when you look at a few of the supporting characters or cameos that were in the movie that were clearly a nod to his previous films. But that's to say that you have to be a fan of his to know that. They're pretty deep cut.
Yeah. Also, you do feel more of the cartoonish tone that Savage Steve Holland does bring to his work.
Yeah.
Trying to look here. The only other things, Terrell Seltzer is the writer of this, and the only thing that I know that he did after this was One Fine Day. That's a really big difference and years apart.
Oh, yeah. That was 97?
Yeah, Christmas in 96.
Pretty close. I'm always pretty close.
I'm looking this up. Jan Eilisberg was the original director, and I don't know who that is. What did she do before this? Mostly TV. Still doing TV. Wow.
Well, I noticed that pretty much what Steve is doing too. A ton of Disney and Nickelodeon family kid crap. I shouldn't say crap, dude. You know what? It's Hollywood's hard. Get work where you can. It's legit, but it's sad because God, he has such a cool tone and creativity that in his original films that just didn't get enough love, I think. And so he, maybe people don't trust him to make movies anymore, or just didn't want to give him big budget projects. So, bless you, dude. Love your movies.
Yeah. I'm trying to look. Yeah, it looks like Diane Franklin made a cameo. She was, of course, in the French girl from Better Off Dead. I could have swore that the other guy from Better Off Dead, the one Dennis Blendon, from Head Class, was in this, but I don't see him.
He is the very last person credited, and technically, I think he's it's actually uncredited. But yes, I did just watch it this morning, and he has one line in the movie.
Oh, okay.
The other thing is that okay, so in Better Off Dead, the mailman that his little brother had that weird relationship with or whatever, or I guess he makes a cameo again as the mailman.
Is he in all three? I feel like Taylor Negron is in all three of them because isn't he had the gas station making fun of the dog?
I think so. I think he was in all the movies, but the fact that he appears to be playing the same character from Better Off Dead in this movie too, which is just too funny to me. And then when I was watching, so the Man A, Man B, and all of his math scenarios and stuff that he was doing in the movie, I was like, okay, both those guys look super familiar, so I had to look them up, and I was like, I thought one was Tom Kenny. Is that his name, Tom Kenny?
Yeah.
And then the other one was like, who is that guy? I know his face, and he was the crazy uncle for One Crazy Summer.
Uh-huh.
The one who sat by the radio. And I was just like, so clearly he did have some creative license with this, even if there was just cameos and guest spots or whatever. But for people who are real true fans, which I consider myself one, that's a deep cut, but man, that brought me so much joy.
What's interesting about this movie, now you and I took a path to college that was pretty set. We knew exactly where we were going. I didn't have a lot of choices. I didn't go to any of these like conventions where people were trying to recruit you. I think I only applied.
A lot of times, it seems like a lot of times they would have these afternoons in the gymnasium where all the colleges would come and just have reps there for you to talk to. I think that's not that uncommon. It could have even happened at our high school, but I'm going to be honest with you, and I've told you this before, that I hardly remember anything about that time in my life or that experience about applying to colleges or how I made choices or anything like that. I swear I blacked it all out. It was so traumatic. I don't remember anything. So I think it's not uncommon, but maybe not something that was on your periphery,
Yeah, I don't remember any recruiters ever coming, and so I had no idea what schools to go to, and I think my guidance counselor just kind of said, my first guidance counselor said, you ever thought about joining the Army when I was a junior? And I was like, what?
No. And you're like, have you met me?
Yeah, I don't do well with authority at all, and I'm in shit health.
Or, excess heat, sweat.
Yeah, I also don't like guns, so no.
Or violence.
Yeah. So then my second guidance counselor, thank you, Mr. Vickery, for trying to give me a chance in life. He gave me a few schools that I could afford and also could possibly take me. My grades sucked. I'm a terrible student.
They had low standards.
Yeah, well, yes, to be frank. So I just remember applying for Lansing, Michigan, Lansing University or something like that, and some other one, and then Vincennes University. And Vincennes was kind of the one I was dead set on the minute my best friend decided he was going to go.
Sure.
So that was it. We just went down there. We saw, campus and did one, the normal visitation, hey, everybody, come to this hall or whatever. We'll give you a detail of what college life is like here, and that was it. I didn't get, obviously, I was not wanted by any colleges.
I was going to say that we're not really people who, got wooed or anything. We were not worthy of wooing.
No, come on. You were an excellent student. What are you talking about?
No, dude. I was mediocre.
Really?
I was, okay, maybe more than mediocre, but not... I was like a B plus student.
Yeah, I was a C minus student.
I mean, is that an excellent student? I don't think so. I didn't even do that good in college. I did not excel in academics until I went to graduate school.
Yeah, I just remember the SATs being you got to do this or you're completely fucked for college, and just I have such ADD and impatience that I got bored halfway through, and I started doing I haven't done a C in a while. I haven't done a B in a while. A, B, C, A, B, C.
I have test anxiety, so I don't really test that well. So that was tough for me. I didn't do great either on the SATs. I did okay, obviously enough to get accepted into college. But again, I don't remember how many colleges I applied to. I don't remember much of anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did, I took a pretty traditional path to college for sure, as opposed to Marlon.
Yeah.
What a weird name.
It is weird. What's funny is both movies show kids that are very good in school and also from somewhat wealthy families. And still, there's complications even for them about picking the right school. Should I have a backup
How long
school?
ago did you watch this movie?
A week ago?
Like, Marlon was, like, super mediocre. You don't
Was he?
remember that?
Fuck, I'm sorry. I guess I
He
have...
was pretty mediocre, which was why they didn't think he had much of a chance. So he was really leaning into, like, the personality element of it.
Oh, that's right, because he shot that special video.
But you can see that there were other people in his class, his fellow seniors or whatever, that were excellent students that were still dealing with the same kinds of struggles.
Yeah, I like the fact...
I appreciated so much. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I really appreciated, and maybe it's the same thing you were going to say, like, the insecurities and stuff of even the, like, supposed, like, super pretty, super popular, super, like, well-rounded people, that they still had struggles and insecurities that they showed.
Yeah, I think that they gave pretty much everybody a lot of nuance and balance. But what I love is the fact that they take it from two different perspectives. Not just the students wanting to get in there, but they also the people who are trying to recruit the right students to give their school the right identity. And how some people are just looking for big names, big numbers, or whatever. And some people are like, well, let's get the people who deserve to be here, not who we demand. I love how some of the stuff gets flipped, like how they desperately want to get that football player, but no one ever lets him talk. Never, what he wants. And they're like, oh, give him bonuses and this contract, whatever. And he's like, I don't even want to play football anymore. I want to be an English major or whatever.
An academic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that was a really cool thing to show from two different angles. But also, I wonder if it made it difficult for people to figure out, like, who is this movie intended for? What's the audience? It's not like a teen movie necessarily, or not entirely. So maybe it just couldn't quite find its footing because it was a little bit more complex.
Yeah. Well, it's not as... here's the thing is he comes in and gives his cartoonish tone, but it does seem like, I'm guessing the first script wasn't as silly. Maybe more heavy, and then the producers decided they wanted to go more comedy-oriented because it would sell better, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it is a comedy, but I don't think that it's not like a flat-out, fat jokes and stuff.
No. It's different than what was, going on at that time. There's a lot more heart going on and a thought. Yeah. Even more, and I'll say it's blasphemy, but that part is better than his other films because there's really not a lot of heart in Better Off Dead. Yeah. And One Crazy Summer. It's kind of on...
There's not a lot of character development in those things.
No, it's very surface level.
It's all very, like, silly.
Yeah. So we have Anthony Edwards towards the end of his leading man status. Sadly, every movie he was in after Top Gun tanked horribly. But I think he's very likable in this as the guy who just wants to recruit quality students and not so much the big names. And Charles Rocket's his nemesis, who just wants the big ones. Did he, if I remember correctly, he accidentally accepted a kangaroo or a bear or something? A pig?
It was an elephant.
An elephant, right.
Which was how they ended up getting what they wanted because they embarrassed him.
Mm-hmm. Did you recognize Finn Carter at all? His not competition, but like his co-worker love interest?
No.
Okay. And most people probably know her as the female lead in Tremors.
No. I recognized so many people, including the, like, redhead secretary who kept, like, calling her dog on the phone or something. It was really strange.
I must have missed that.
I'm not really sure if that's what she was doing, but she just kept looking at the picture of her dog on her desk, and while she was on the phone, it seemed like she was calling her dog to check in. I'm not sure. It was a really odd personality trait. And then, of course, a lot of the, like, higher up people in the high school and college setting were people you see all the time. who I was surprised to see was Richard Jenkins as his dad.
Yeah, before everybody knew who he was.
Before everyone knew who Richard Jenkins was. Man, he's such a marvelous actor, and clearly this is not a showcase for his work, but damn, he's a good actor. And it was a very strange thing that I felt like was a little bit of a throwaway with the exceptionally young wife, who I didn't understand at first was his wife, and this tiny little boy. And I feel like they could have done a little bit more to investigate the awkwardness of that.
Yeah.
Which also, I just realized, is very similar to Orange County.
Oh, you're right.
Huh.
What I thought was interesting is the con artist angle that they work with Nora Dunn and Phil Hartman as these like masters of getting you into college, and they're just fucking all these kids over and just taking their money.
They're like, you really need to stand out. That's $100.
And yeah, it's funny is they deal the desperation of some of these kids. I don't know anybody who was desperate to get into college. Was I just such a loser? I mean, we didn't really go to a school that was. Let's just say this. If the percentage of people who just graduated from the high school was good, then we had an excellent year. Getting into college was something that seemed like an afterthought.
I think that the expectations and the pressures are, like, at least now, are much more intense than they were when we were young.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't, it's not that people weren't desperate to go to college per se. College was important, but it just didn't seem the same as it is portrayed now.
Well, also, I think it depends on where you live. I mean, let's be honest. We had a dead-end town. Not a lot of people really had much of a future in our city. But this is about... Where is this set? Is this set in Los Angeles?
No, I don't think so. But I'm not really sure if they actually talk about where it is or not.
Okay. It feels California, definitely. Yeah.
It's just, she talks about her other option that she was considering was Michigan. So it made me think that they were somewhere in the Midwest.
Okay. Because I feel like maybe if you're on the coast, like in a bigger state or cities with a lot more opportunities, that the pressure to get to the right school is there, because then you have like, oh my God, I have this, this, and this, and this as options, and this is my future. Whereas small town Indiana is like, can I just pay my fucking bills? That's your goal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you have a fair argument that a lot of people in small towns, just, I don't know, accept that they're going to live in small towns and do that. But I think there's an equal amount of people who are very eager to experience something else.
Yeah.
And to get a way out.
Now, you and I both know Lara Flynn Boyle very well. Lara Flynn Boyle? I don't know how you say it, but we know her very well because she has such a strong career for about 10 years after
this. We know her so well that we know how to pronounce her name.
Shut up. I quit. You're the lead now. It's all your show.
Shut up. It's okay. I'm smarter than you anyway.
Corey Parker, do you recognize him at all?
No, but he has a nice face.
Yeah. Well, before this, he had been in Biloxi Blues as Matthew Broderick's friend, who joins with him, and that was, I just watched it. I think it's unbelievably good role. He was from the school of Neil Simon. He was doing like Brighton Beach Memoirs and stuff like that.
I got the impression that he was like had a theater background, maybe.
Yeah, and so he came off of Biloxi Blues, where he got some critical acclaim, and then came into this. And sadly, everything afterwards did not do well, or he's barely part of it. But he's in a very, very funny movie called Big Man on Campus that came out at the same time as this did. Again, buried. But it's free, I think, on YouTube and Vudu. It's a lot of fun. It's about what if the Hunchback of Notre Dame decided to go to college? Sounds like a stupid idea, but it's very funny. It's very funny.
That sounds hilarious.
It's like so stupid. They know it's stupid, and they're playing into that.
Is there another movie called Big Man on Campus?
I know there's Dead Man on Campus.
Or just something. Oh, maybe that's it. Man, there's some good people in this movie. Okay, I'm gonna watch it later.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sat on the shelf for 2 years, sadly, but So I think that movie is worthy. I think it might be on HBO Max. Yeah, but
No, it's not.
oh, okay.
It's on Stars.
Oh, okay. It feels like all the movies we want to watch are on Stars, and nobody has Stars.
Well,
Even the
I
people
just
who
know
run
it's
Stars
not
don't have
HBO
Stars.
Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not HBO Max because I have HBO Max.
Okay.
So I was just gonna say that there was one thing I really appreciated about like just the character in general of what was his name?
Okay, so it's not it's not. I thought it was Marwin. This whole fucking time I thought it was Marwin, and I just apparently have a hearing. It's Marlon, just a very common name. Marlon Brando. You know, I had a friend named Marlon.
Yeah. So the thing about him is, like, his reasoning for wanting to go to college is pretty sad. Like, why do you want to go to college for another person? Basically, the creator Felicity stole the plot of the movie and like, let's go from there. But the thing is that pretty much everything he does, his choices, the way he acts, he seems completely sincere. He's just sort of like a nice guy who really just isn't sure. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He doesn't really have a lot of hobbies. He's just, I think that's a pretty normal thing to be unsure of yourself or just be like, I don't really know who I am yet. I'm 17 years old.
Yeah.
But it seemed every action and every choice that he made really seemed earnest, like he was like, sure, I'll try that. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. But he did it his way. And it's like, okay, sure. But he never was like sneaky or creepy when even though he was into her and his reason for going to college apparently was because of her, he was never creepy or gross or weird or dishonest or anything like that with her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many movies that are like that are just based on so much deception, and that really makes a lot of potentially good movies just feel a bit icky.
Yeah, I fucking hate the cliche with this person thinks this person is that, but they're not. Yeah. They have to stick to the lie because they want to be next to her, and then it turns out you're not gay. What?
I know. Oh god, it's just so stupid. So I just wanted to remark on that there was a genuineness to him, but he's like, he's just an average Joe. He's like, okay looking. He's an okay student. He's just unsure of, where his path is in life. But he didn't get where he went by using deception. He went by being true to who he was.
I think every single person who's interested in college should get the first semester free. Paid for by the government. No, you don't have to pay it back in any way whatsoever. And you have to take general studies. If you're not sure of what you want, you still get a semester to try to figure things out. You can take some general studies, but pick some electives as well. And if you decide to continue after that first semester, then good, great. Just some sort of, like maybe the second semester, a slow increment in payment, or like some smaller payment, whatever. The way that we are charging for college now is the goddamn dumbest thing that we've ever done. Our infrastructure sucks ass because we're not investing in our future students, whereas other countries are making sure the next generation is there to take care of, the groundwork that was already laid for them. Because you can't be 80 and be like, I don't know, these 20-year-olds, they don't know shit. Fuck it, well, fine,
Well, I think that there's a few things, like, this could be a whole podcast in itself, that they're not, school in general aren't teaching people the real things they need to know in life, like actual life skills and, how to balance a checkbook. I mean, I realize
how to fill out a fucking resume,
Yeah, So, but also, I think there's way too much emphasis on, like, 4-year colleges and, community colleges or trade schools are, really need to be treated with more respect.
Also, can they make them accredited? Trade schools are still further learning, and yet for some reason so many of them struggle with getting accreditation.
Yeah, I will tell you the interesting thing. I'm pretty sure it's the whole state of California that if you are a high school student or under a certain age, and any class you take is free. So they like you could take a class or two and test it out. Although I realize you still have the commitment of high school at the same time.
Yeah, that's hard.
But many of the schools here, at least, like require you to take college classes while you're still in high school.
Interesting.
And thus they can get some of the more difficult classes out of the way, and save money.
Well, that's good.
It's interesting. I don't know.
So our second film is Orange County. I think watching it this last time, I realized it might be the best teen movie of this era. I could be wrong. There's something else you'll probably remind me that I've said before is the best movie of this era.
I don't know.
I automatically know I'm
Pretty
wrong.
good.
No, I'm already wrong. I forgot. Almost Famous is the best. But this is really
I
up there.
still waffle on whether that's truly a teen movie.
I don't know. It feels like it is to me, but that's just me. Orange County, I thought it was a much, much bigger hit, but it wasn't. But it also wasn't very expensive, which is nice. But this is from MTV Productions, and I felt, do you remember whenever you saw the name MTV on a film for a while there, it seemed like it was going to be better quality than the other teen movies that were being put out there?
I think that there was just something that made you excited about it, even though you probably shouldn't be.
I remember how many people went nuts for Varsity Blues, and there's no fucking way in hell I'm ever watching that movie again. Just not happening.
I might, I don't know, get really shit-faced and watch it. But that's about the only scenario that I would sit through that.
Yeah. Written by Mike White, directed by Jake Kasdan, produced by MTV, and this is Colin Hanks' big show, and I couldn't fucking tell you a single thing he did after this. I really can't. But I remember this got
I'll tell you what, my friend.
What?
I saw it at the theater, and I was one of the movies I was most excited about in my entire existence to see in the theater, and it did not disappoint.
I'm looking right now, and he didn't do shit. I don't know what the fuck any of these movies are.
Honestly, he really didn't do great stuff. What I've seen him in I just rewatched Dexter. He was a villain in Dexter for a season. And then he was in, had cameos in the Jumanji movies. And
how does he not get the roles after this? Was he just cast aside as Tom Hanks Jr.?
Didn't he do a TV show like Life in Pieces?
Well, that's now. But I'm talking like right after Orange County. Orange County got so much acclaim at the time.
I don't know. Maybe he went to college.
Oh, you know what? I didn't think of that. Well, I know that. So he asked to be let go from Roswell, and they killed his character off so that he could shoot this. And then he wasn't King Kong. Yeah.
You assume that was because he wanted to foray into film. And then he didn't do much of anything after this.
Well, I don't know if he was in college because we're the same age. I have no idea how we're the same
age. I made a joke.
Uh-huh.
That was a joke because this is a movie about getting into college.
Sorry. I guess I didn't catch it. But yeah, now around 2005 is when it starts to pick up. He does King Kong. He does The Great Buck Howard, which I think is unbelievably good. No one ever talks about it. Untraceable, My Mom's New Boyfriend, The House Bunny, which we've done on this show before. So it gets better after that.
Bless you, House Bunny. But the thing is he's always sort of like just a side character or third, and he's just. I mean, in House Bunny, I love him, but he's so not the star. It's not a vehicle for him.
So I guess I think sometimes I remember when they were doing promotions for us and they wanted to force like, oh, you're Tom Hanks' kid. Oh, you're shit, I forgot. What's Skylar Fisk's mom?
Sissy Spacek.
That's all they talked about. They didn't really even talk about them. It's like, hey, your parents are famous. Isn't that cool? And they're like, yeah.
She hasn't really done much either.
I think she's pretty good in this. I really like her in it. No,
I think she's delightful. I mean, I think that they're both great, very likable. Teens with good intentions who still somehow sort of deviate from what they should have done, but their intentions were good.
Yeah.
this is another movie that's filled with like a lot of cameos and little like bits and like, you know, Chevy Chase is whatever. I don't know what he's teaching, but he's idiot. Lily Tomlin as also another idiot.
She fucking cracks me up. She refuses to acknowledge that she fucked up. He's like, no, my name is Sean Brumder. That was Shane Brander. She goes, no, I didn't make a mistake. It's fine. It's like, no, it's not fine.
And she's like, oh, with grades like this, you don't need a safety school. She's like, what safety school did you apply to? I didn't. You told me I didn't have to. What? And like Mike White is the English teacher when he's just like, Romeo and Juliet, what does that make you think of? And he's like, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yep, that's right. And just like, what?
And who else does it remind you of? A guy named William Shakespeare.
He wrote, and then when he lists the other things that he's written, like most of them were just like ridiculous. What? No, he didn't.
I'm looking through here at all the cameos. Of course, this is Jake Kasdan is the child of Lawrence Kasdan. I'm wondering if he tapped a favor for getting Kevin Kline in this because. Kevin Kline was in so many Lawrence Kasdan movies, but God, is he like the most pleasant screen presence I can think of? I can't think of anybody else who just makes you like, oh, he's so fun.
Kevin Kline, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, what a darling man, what a gem he is, and also our mom's
favorite actor,
original,
I think. Yeah.
Forever Hollywood crush of all time. I really enjoyed Catherine O'Hara as Mom, although I can see that this is not an atypical kind of character for her. To me, in complete honesty, she sort of plays this kind of character in Schitt's Creek, and maybe, she's, a little bit like just known for being a little unpredictable, crazy.
It's when you see hilarious. This, you feel the character that she would eventually play in Schitt's Creek.
Yes. And, Lithgow is always great. Their, vibe together was good. The whole, oh, God, poor Bob. I mean, I think out of everybody, who gets the worst of it? Fucking Bob. Yeah. I don't know. The Leslie Mann does a little thing with his younger wife, who's just doesn't really want to raise a kid, just wants to go party.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the thing: is Jake and Mike are also casting the lure out to people they had already worked with on Freaks and Geeks and Grosse Pointe, and you see so many. You see, did you happen to notice Millie from Freaks and Geeks in the very back?
Oh, I've always noticed her from the very first time I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, there's Millie, and then Carly Pope, and
Nate Faxon, who you can't stand.
This is why I can't stand him. This role was the first thing I ever saw him in, and he's just such a douche that I can't ever not think of him as a douche.
Yeah, we got Monica Keena, who would be an Undeclared the same year.
Right.
Why do I feel like the girl that Sam was in love with on Freaks and Geeks is also in a very small off to the side cameo? I can't remember her name, but I feel like she's in this too.
No, she's not.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't remember her being in it. Who else was in it?
We have Lizzie Kaplan.
Of course. Then there was that guy from Grosse Pointe. What's his name? The other guy?
Oh, damn it. I had to cheat. Kyle Howard.
I like him, yeah.
Yeah. Also, you say Carly Pope, but Fran Kranz. He's the Shane Brown. The one. I gotta accept.
Yes, he's his counterpart. His accident was polar opposite. How far into Jack Black's career was this? Is this one of his first bigger movies?
I feel like this was shot before Shallow Hal, but after High Fidelity. I feel like this is between the two, and they held on to this for a little bit. I bet you they're waiting. So this is almost, especially in the promos, this is almost the Jack Black show. And that also irritates me a little bit because I think he's I mean, we were supposed to know he's a shithead, but we're supposed to try to give him heart. And I'm like, no, this guy's a fucking douche nozzle who needs serious help and maybe some jail time to learn to do better. And I feel like they pushed him. Like, he did well with the test audience, and I think they must have just added so much of him. I got annoyed by him. I'm more interested in Sean's story.
How do you think that they got Harold Ramis to be in this? Do you think it was like a favor to him?
Yeah, I bet you Lawrence Kasdan or it was something like they knew each other. I'm trying to think of any connectors like where they were worked in a movie
There's
together.
just so many people. Gary Marshall, Dana Ivey, Jane Adams. There's just so many like really good people in this. And I'm going to tell you that usually I'm not wrong about these things, but I was wrong and you were right. The girl that he had a crush on in Freaks and Geeks was in this movie.
Oh, okay. And then a small part at the very beginning, the kind of guy who drives the whole thing is Lonnie, played by Brett Harrison. So most people probably know him from Reaper. What was the other thing that he was in? I know he was what's the fucking show? It's from the same guys that did that 70s show, Grounded for Life. He did that around the time. Do you remember he was supposed to take over on that 70s show, and then they offered him The Loop?
Nope. I never got far enough into that 70s show to see him, I don't think.
Yeah, season 7, he does a big arc, and they're supposed to make him the lead, but they end up offering him The Loop, which is weird because it's the same network, but The Loop is so fucking funny, and nobody watched that damn show. I love it so much.
I know. I think... I don't think he made a mistake, but, he is one of those people that's like, they call a show killer or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
He's funny, man.
Yeah, and I think the balance of the jokes to drama in this one, the stress. Oh, hey, Brett Harrison's from Portland. Cool. I think is really well done. And it's not like in-your-face drama, but you can always see the tension underneath about his family and how he just wants to run away from them, but sometimes that's not the right answer. Someone was telling me a story when they were talking about this movie, and I don't know the parable, but it was about a guy who was walking to a new town, and he walks to the guy at the entrance of the gates, and he goes, "Hi, what are the people like in this town?" And the guy at the gate says, "Well, what were they like at the last town?" He goes, "They were terrible people." And he goes, "Well, there's terrible people here too." And then he walks off, and then another guy comes up a little bit later and goes, "Hey, what are the people like in this town?" And he goes, "I don't know. What were they like in your town, or your last town?" And he says, "They were great." And he goes, "There's great people here." So it's just, every town has the same kind of people. And I think what that relation to Sean's problem is, no matter where he goes, he's still going to have the same kind of people and the same kind of problems. Because remember, he goes to that frat party and thinks he's going to be with all those smart people, and they're still dancing to that fucking Butterfly song.
Yes. Everybody's the same everywhere, Amy. You're right. There's good people, there's bad people, there's smart people, there's annoying people. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Really.
I think
when it boils down to it.
Yeah. And this is during the period where everybody seemed like they were trying to either do a Shakespeare movie, like a modern version of Shakespeare, or they're trying to do another American Pie. And this is the one that kind of swims against the tide without feeling like, how some of these are like, oh, this is like a $2 million indie, that's the only reason that something like this can get told. Like the slums of Beverly Hills. Whereas there's some good quality in this. I mean, there's no shortcuts, and I think a lot of it is because, who was making it. Also, Adam Schroeder at the time was extremely hot producer for Paramount at the time, and he probably called in some favors.
I did want to say, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that the two Jumanji movies and King Kong were also all directed by Jake Kasdan. I didn't remember that, especially not King Kong. Fuck, I didn't remember that.
Wait. Jake Kasdan didn't direct King Kong. That was Peter Jackson. What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know why I said that. This says, I read it wrong. It says, this is the first of 4 collaborations with Jack Black and Colin Hanks, as they both also star in King Kong, Jumanji 1 and 2, but in the latter 2 movies, they don't share any screen time. And with the exception of King Kong, they are all directed by Jake Kasdan. Okay, I didn't read that right. That makes so much more sense.
What did Jake Kasdan do before the Jumanji movies? How did he make that jump?
I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I'm sure he did stuff that we just aren't thinking about.
I think he did that. Oh, he did Walk Hard. Nice.
Oh, Walk Hard.
And Bad Teacher, but still, who gives him a $200 million? He goes from Sex Tape to Jumanji? How does that work? That doesn't even...
Yeah, Sex Tape was not a good movie. And, I mean, he did some TV shows, but he did some New Girl.
None of it says hand him Jumanji. That's what I don't get.
Bad Teacher isn't really a good movie either. I mean, you know what? I didn't remember the TV set. Damn, that's a good movie that got very little, love.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
All right, so
that
kind of wraps it up. Of the two, which one do you prefer?
I mean, How I Got Into College actually did end up at first I didn't know how I felt about it, but I actually quite enjoyed it. But I mean, Orange County is probably one of those movies that is one of my go-to comfort movies that if I can't think of what to watch or I want something to make me happy, that's a movie I'll always lean on. So I'm always Orange County is a top contender for me no matter what.
Yeah, it is definitely comfort food.
Definitely Orange County.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I think Colin Hanks is just such a likable, maybe he's an everyman and, you only need so many of those. But
he's so damn good on Fargo. Holy shit.
I know. I haven't seen that. I'll have to give it a go. He's just so likable. And yeah, maybe it's to his detriment that he looks and sounds so much like his dad. I don't know. But it's a shame because I don't think people are utilizing, him the way they should. But
yeah.
he is truly just, super likable, and the way that they, wrote his character, you feel I love when he's just that year I read the book 57 times. I laughed, I cried, he's a complicated guy.
Yeah. So check us out on Facebook and Twitter under Hit Rewind Podcast. And that is it for tonight. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, only that I'm super glad that I am way too old to have to think about getting into college.
Oh my God, I can't imagine how expensive it is now. It's horrifying.
It was ridiculously expensive over 20 years ago when I went, and way less pressure. So let's never do that again. Okay?
No. You went further. I only got a 2-year degree. You got the master's. So that had to be way more expensive.
We're both doing this.
What?
I said, and yet we're both still here at the same place.
What are you talking about?
Just doing this podcast.
Oh, I was like, what are you saying? What? All right.
I'm just joking.
So our next episode is going to be Can't Buy Me Love, and She's All That.
Yeah!
That was more exciting than I expected. All right, everybody, have a good night.